guest speaker as well. Today's conversation is one I believe is long overdue, especially in our industry. You know, we talk a lot more about the market, which is the economy. We talk about the interest rates. We talk about the FX fluctuations, but not enough about what happens inside of our own firm. That is the systems that we operate, the processes, the tools that determine whether a client becomes a client, whether a lead becomes a client or whether he quietly disappears. And these are the things we want to begin to look at today. We want to begin to talk about what happens inside of our own firms. And I think this is very, very important, especially for the practitioner in real estate. So let's come inside. Let's discuss about ourselves. Let's discuss about our processes. Let's discuss about our system. And let's discuss about how we ensure that we have lead people, or people want to buy, or people would relate to it, how they become our clients forever. So once again, you are welcome. And again, before I introduce this guest speaker again, our topic for today is the Proptech Sales Cycle, right? How to fast track sales in the sector. For everyone who is in this system, who is in this sector, one of the things that occupies our mind is, how do we sell? How do we conclude sale? And this is a major issue for us as practitioners in the real estate industry. So the topic before us is the Proptech Sales Cycle, the Proptech Sales Cycles, how to fast track sales in the sector. And so we have an exceptional speaker with us today who has lived this. He has built his business around this and is here to share what actually works in the Nigerian market. And so today I'm going to be introducing the guest, read a little bit about him, then I'll get him to actually start. But before then again, please ensure that your microphones are muted during this session. You can also use the chat box to drop in your questions. And if at any point in time you want to ask questions, we'll be glad to bring you up from the back end so that you can ask a direct question to the speaker when the time comes. So we'll also share the recording link so that after this session, you can go back to them. And please, as we're just starting, tell your friends to tell other people that we're just about starting and let them get on board. Let's do this together and let's ensure that we get best out of this webinar today. So let's go to our speaker. Our speaker, please, I'm sure I'd like to see the face of our speaker while I introduce him. Okay, great. I think I can see him right now. So our speaker, don't mind let me not go into all of that anyway. Let me just introduce the speaker. Our speaker, Dotun Oloyede, is the founder and the CEO of Rollard Properties and Allied Services Limited, a real estate company established in 2018 with operations across Nigeria and the United Kingdom. It's been recognized in the Business Day top 100 fastest growing SMEs. That's in 2025. It delivered property solutions to over 3,000 clients. Is a leading estate development across Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, and Abuja. He's also an Oxford-trained real estate professional. And, today we'll be speaking. There are quite a whole lot of, he wears a whole lot of, I know is in, he will correct me on that, whether the PRO or the publicity secretary of the Real Estate Development Association, the REDAN. And
organizing secretary.
Oh, yes, good. Organizing secretary. Yes, is the organizing secretary. So he'll be speaking to us on how Proptech is reshaping the real estate sales cycle and what it means for today's markets. Ladies and gentlemen, so please join me in welcoming Mr. Dotun Oloyede. Mr. Dotun, the floor is yours. Let's get into it, and God bless you. Thank you for coming and doing this with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's a privilege to be here, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And the way you have introduced me, but you can just say my brother, so that would have just been perfect. So thank you, sir. It's a privilege to be here. And also, I think to be an injustice for me not to acknowledge the founding partners of Ubozile & Co., Mr. Emeka Ele and Mr. Chudi Ubosi. I just want to say thank you to them for also allowing me to be on this platform. It's a platform I don't take for granted. And I hope that we can all learn today. Every time I speak anywhere, I see it as an opportunity to share and also to learn. So it's not just to just speak and not learn. So I believe that it's a platform for shared knowledge. And it's an interesting topic that has been presented to talk about. And I think without further ado, I'll just get to it. I'm not able to share my slide from here. I don't know if someone on the team is going to do that for me or just give me, okay. So the topic before me is how to fast track sales. The Proptech Sales Cycle, how to fast track sales in the sector. Let me just quickly say, when we talk about Proptech, it's just a acronym for property technology, and it just speaks to how technology improves, transform, disrupt the real estate industry. So I just want to put that out of the way, because sometimes when we hear the word Proptech, it might be assumed to be something so bogus that can't be unpacked easily. So Proptech means property technology, and it speaks to how technology improve, transform, and disrupt the real estate. And my objective today is to look at this subject not from what it means itself, but what the outcome would be in our processes as a company, as developers, as salespeople, if we apply it. So I won't spend too much time unpacking the concept of property technology itself, but I'll be speaking to how the use of it can transform our sales process. I'll be looking at things from a competitive sales angle. So this session will unpack why most real estate companies are losing deals even when they have better products, and how to win in a competitive tech-driven market. And that's the objective of this session. So you need to understand that in today's market, you don't lose because you have bad product. You lose because your competitor is sharper, your competitor is faster, and more strategic. Yes, I'll say that again. In today's market, you don't lose because your product is bad. You lose because your competitor is sharper, faster, and more strategic. When you are sleeping, they are on their toes. When you are taking forever to make things happen, some of them are delivering faster, and they are more strategic. They're thinking way ahead of you. And if you look at the current landscape, the reality now is that real estate has changed. Yes, you can go to the next slide. Real estate has changed, but most sales teams, most companies haven't. Some of us are still operating our sales process like we did 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, not realizing that the landscape has changed. Buyers today are more informed than salespeople. As you're talking to somebody about something, they are pressing their phone. Everything is right at the touch of their button. So the buyers today are more informed than salespeople. And that's just the reality, even though it's a sad one, but it's just reality sometimes. You are no longer competing on properties. You are competing on information, speed, and positioning. So it's not about the property anymore now. It's about the information you have about the property. It's about the speed of providing information and delivering, and how you have positioned your product. In this market, the best product doesn't always win. The bestseller does. I have seen bad products sell faster than a good product. Yes, we can argue and say that at the long run, yes, it will catch up, really. But for you at the moment, losing deals and continue to lose deals will have a great impact on you and your business. You might not even get to be in the market when that future comes and catches up with the person who has a bad product. You, with a good product, want to remain in business to even get to the point where we can say, oh, at the end of the day, oh, this person's product is good, this person's product is bad. But we've seen it time after time that the best product doesn't always win sometimes, but the bestseller does. I have seen people buy package lie oftentimes. I will call it package lie because of the way it was presented. And that's just the power of technology, the power of storytelling. And that's why the best product will not necessarily win if you don't have the best sales people and best sales process on what you're doing. And you must understand that the The new buyer reality now is that a buyer compares 10 properties before speaking to you. I remember many years ago that we will have to look for an agent who will bring out a catalog and show you many things. Then we'll have to physically take you to those properties one after the other before you can be informed about the property. But now, before a customer reaches out to you, they already compared a lot of properties before talking to you. Information asymmetry is gone. You don't have monopoly over information anymore. And trust is lower, but skepticism is very, very high. Decision cycles are shorter, but hesitation is deeper. And this last part is that buyers do not just Google search you anymore. The AI search you. Permit me to spend a little time talking about this because at the heart of the property technology itself, this is the current trend. You know, I said something that what determines how best you win in the market is how sharp, fast, and strategic you are. Part of being strategic is to realize that people don't just Google search anymore now. They AI search. So the question is that how are you positioned? How is your company, your product? How is it positioned that if I take your product and slam it on AI, on any AI tool, it's going to provide me information about your property? Or will it tell me that it's not familiar? Will the AI tool give a response that it's not familiar with that particular property? And you know what? AI will now tell them properties that they're familiar with. Then people take all your brochures. They can take brochures of 10 companies, put everything on the AI tool. Let's use ChatGPT or Gemini for an example. They put it there, put specific instruction. I'm looking for a property in this location with this price line. These are my fears. These are my concerns. I need something that has, and they put it there. Do you know that in seconds, the AI tool can give a summary? And when you see that summary, you're shocked. It will come with green tick and red cross, telling you, okay, this one ticks the box, this one ticks the box, this one doesn't, this one doesn't. You see, what people get in response to when the AI search you is largely dependent on how you have positioned your product, how you have put enough information online in the right places about your product, how you are very visible about your product. That is what the AI tool will aggregate and put together, and how deliberate you are to ensure that even you yourself, you're using AI tool to prepare some of these things so that some of these platforms are familiar with your product. So do not forget that buyers do not just Google search anymore. They now AI search properties. So moving on, technology, the technology shift now is that technology has empowered buyers, but most developers are still selling like it's 2015. I'm not sure if people still pick up, how many people pick up the dailies to see property listing anymore. I know it's still there, but I'm very sure a large section of the market do not have to do that. So we cannot continue to perform and sell like it's 2015. So let me talk about 5 key areas where most companies lose in the market. You know, what I've seen going on at the moment and where a lot of companies get it wrong. And some companies are already getting it right in this area. Number one is that most people are too product-centric. Product-centric selling. We have good title, we have good location. Everyone says this, and it's no longer a unique differentiator. What's good title? Good title is not a differentiator anymore. Good location is not a differentiator anymore. And although there's another slide where I will address the solution to this, but let me just go through some of the key areas where companies lose. Number one is product-centric selling. Number 2 is slow response time. First responder often wins the deal. Many companies respond in hours or days, losing the prospect immediate interest. See, when it comes to Proptech selling, so we're talking about technology, using technology to sell. Some things are inevitable. They cannot wait the resumption time. There is no resumption and closing time. If your platform cannot engage while you're asleep, you are not ready for Proptech. Because While if a certain side of the world is sleeping, some side of the world are awake. So at every point in time, some people are awake. So your platform cannot be sleeping at any point. Your platform must be equipped in a way that it's able to engage even while you're asleep. Right? We'll come to that towards the end of the presentation. But many companies respond in hours or days, losing the prospect immediate interest. Like I said, people are comparing like 10 properties before reaching out to you. So imagine they reach out to you, you are taking days. 9 people already responded. Your slow response sometimes is even taking some time as incompetence, which might not necessarily be, but sometimes that's how you come across to some of these customers. And number 3 is weak follow-up system. Leads die not because of price, but because they are neglected. Without a structured follow-up, potential buyers slip through the cracks easily. You can see once your response time is low, of course, you're likely to have a weak follow-up system because you're not responding on time and you don't have a structure for it. Then number 4 is where companies are losing at the moment is some don't have competitive positioning. So the typical salespeople, those platforms cannot do comparative analysis. Salespeople don't know how to answer, why should I buy from you instead of X? There's something I saw in when you go to a grocery store in the United Kingdom and you see a product, they'll put the price on it and they will tell you that this price beats the price of another grocery store by this percentage. Or they will tell you that this price of this product matches the price of another grocery store. So what are they doing? It's competitive positioning. So for you to start thinking that, oh, maybe if I go to the next supermarket, it's cheaper. They're already telling you that don't bother, it's the same price. Or don't bother, it is better. Our price is better. So as developers, as salespeople in 2026, if we're going to position ourselves in this Proptech-driven market, our platforms must position us in a competitive way. You must do competitive analysis. You must be able to tell that this product is better, and don't use the word don't use superlative words. You must use factual things. Oh, this house, this building is bigger by S square meter than this in this corridor. This house is one of the biggest by S square meter in this corridor. So those are verifiable facts. Don't just use the best. Those are relative words. But we must position ourselves in a competitive way. And number 5 is there's emotional disconnect. When we sell features instead of outcomes, we miss crucial element of storytelling that connects with buyers on a deeper level. When you want to tell a client about the security of your property, you can tell them it has 24-hour security. But you can tell them that, oh, we like to build properties that we know that once your children are inside, nothing can happen to them, whether you're at home or not. The moment you say that, you already connected emotionally, because most parents are at work. Your biggest worry is the safety of your children. When you put them in school, you want to be sure they are safe. When the driver drops them at home, you want to be sure that they are safe. Like I joke with people that no matter who you are, when your childminder or your what's the word now? Your domestic staff calls you while you are not at home and they are with your kids, no matter who you are, wherever you are, you pick up. You pick up because you know that your investments, your children, your family, your safety is priority. So you want to know what's going on, right? So we know that security is top-notch for people, but rather than just postulating security from a place of 24-hour security CCTV camera, we need to sell outcomes and tell people that when your children are in this place, nothing is going to happen to them. And that way, you have said the same thing, but you have said it in an emotional way that connects in a way that connects emotionally with the customer. And these are very important when it comes to in a competitive market now. And all these things must be well positioned we must position ourselves, all these features, all this storytelling very, very well, leveraging technology so that when people AI search our property, these are the aggregate information that the tool will be providing. The tool is not going to provide information that you kept it to yourself. it will only aggregate information that you have openly put in platforms that the AI tool is able to aggregate them from there. Right? So moving on is, now we talked about the 5 key areas people are losing. Then let's talk about how do we then solve that problem? 5 pillars of competitive selling in real estate. And this is looking at it from the Proptech angle, right? Like I said in the beginning of my presentation, I just don't want to focus on Proptech itself and start unpacking all that. I want to focus on what it can do. And we're looking at it from the angle of competitive selling. Number 1 is speed wins deals. First to respond equals first to influence. Yeah. And you establish dominance immediately before competitor even reply. See, sometimes it's not that your product is not good enough, but when you don't have platforms that help you to be the first to respond, first to tell your story, first to share your perspective, the moment you are the first, the second person come, you need to beat your presentation. And you must use CRM and automation, because these are the things that that bring delays. You must remove manual delays. For you to respond fast, for you to be the first responder, you cannot leave it just to human effort. And this is where the prop comes in. Automation. There are a lot of CRM tools. Even let's give out tips. That's the common apps we use these days, the WhatsApp and the likes. Some of us who have not even maximized this to the fullest. Some of the features that those platforms gives us, we have not maximized them to the fullest. I see some ad online, and the ad expects me to then enter a place and begin to type or call a number. If that's what your ad is asking for people, you've already lost to some extent. Your ad must be positioned in a way that if I engage it, it can feed me up to 60% to 70% of the information that I need to make a decision. And people are also now putting chat prompts on their platforms. These are things that are, that are driven by AI, that are driven by technology, that can begin to respond to you even while you're sleeping. And these are the things that can help you to be the first responder. Again, speed wins the deal. Secondly is positioning beat pricing. Every day, every time. Positioning beats pricing. Don't compete on price. Move the conversation away from standard metrics and cost-based objection. You need to compete on unique value drivers. Focus entirely on ROI, top-tier security, exclusive lifestyle, and scarcity. I've said this. I said this in sometimes when I'm talking with my team, is that I ask them this question: how many times have you gone to the market where you want to buy something, you have a budget, and you end up spending more than your budget because you saw something else that you like? Before you left the house, you told yourself, I'm not going to spend more than this. Then you get to the market and you end up spending more. For example, you want to buy an Apple wristwatch. And when you got to the Apple store, they told you that there's a new one. It has this feature, it can do this better than this one. And you end up spending more. What made you do that? What made you take that decision? It's not the price, it's the value. So when we position our property based on price, I saw something online yesterday and I was sharing with my friend. I saw a property and they were saying they were doing birthday promo. And I'm like, I was sharing with a friend that all these things, does it really work? I don't know, maybe it works, but I'm like, it's not going to work on me. I'm not going to buy a property because we're doing birthday promo. I'm going to buy the property because of some certain things I'm looking out for. And once the property is in the region of more, 10 million and above and the likes, people are not going to buy it because of just your gimmicks. They're going to buy it because of some specific value. I told some of my sales team that as a lady, you can go somewhere and use seduction to get somebody to pay you 250 million. Maybe you worked on the person, but it's not going to work on his lawyer. By the time he gets his lawyer to look at the deal, and he gets the accountant to look at the deal, they didn't see you. That's not going to work on them. And those ones are able to objectively look at the deal and critique it based on the facts and based on what the client is looking out for. So we must not elevate gimmicks, pricing, and all this above unique value drivers. The value drivers must be the top things that we're selling. You know, there's something called word chatter when it comes to marketing and sales. Your word chatter must be specially curated. These are the things you will use in your videos, in your write-up. So it must be something that everybody's echoing the same words throughout the team. So it's not like this person says, present this product like this. This person, no, we must have word chatter, we must have clear write-ups that everybody's, and those write-ups must highlight the ROI, the unique value drivers. Remember, if you're explaining price, you've lost positioning. You already lost positioning. Like I tell some of my team members that when a client tells you they want to buy a property of, let's say, 100 million and above, and they say they don't want to see the property, or they are going to pay on so day, don't get your hope up. The likelihood of that happening is close to zero. Because people don't just buy what they don't see. It's either somebody recommended it, that they trust the judgment of that person, or they are familiar with that product before. But that they will just go ahead and pony up money and pay for something they've not seen. The chances are close to zero. So we must always engage conversation from the unique value drivers. And number 3 is you have to control narrative. You have to control narrative to let client define your value. Reframe your offer. You see, when it comes to Proptech, you cannot separate communication from Proptech. Your write-ups, the word chatter is extremely important when it comes to leveraging Proptech, because now you're dealing with people via technology. And what are the emotional arrival that you want them to have when they see your property, read about your offer, or watch a video from you? So your communication is very important. And that's where you control narrative. So you can say something is 40 million. Or you can say, this is one of the few 400 square meter plots left in Mowe with full infrastructure and immediate allocation. You know, you have talked about value, and you have also created scarcity positioning. So when person sees the price, they also see something that this thing, the value of this thing is, and also is scarce, and is the biggest. You know, this is like a continuation of the point number 2. You are putting you preframe your offer before people start even engaging you on the price. So when they engage you on the price, you are coming back to the offer they already read. That way you control the narrative. But if you put out just the price, they engage you and start talking about the price, and start talking about, oh, I know somewhere that is cheaper. When clients come to me and say something else is cheaper somewhere, I say it's possible. It's possible. I cannot speak to it. I don't know what's there, but these are the values that are here. So when you go to that place, compare those values. If it's the same, then I recommend you buy from them. But because we have done a comparative analysis, we have done a competitive analysis, we've done a comparative analysis, we've done competition, we've checked how our competition is doing. So anything we put out, we are sure that is unique to us. And that's how you control the narrative. And number 4 is follow-up is where deals close. Follow-up is where deals close. 80% of deals happen after 5+ follow-ups. And these are key, these are facts, really, not what I just came up with. These are facts, right? Persistence is the key differentiator in crowded market. How persistent are you? Most salespeople stop at 2. They give up right before trust and intent reach the closing threshold. Oh, say the client is not responding. The client is not. I said something to my team members that it's very important that the first information you're getting from client includes their email. Because when they stop responding to calls and WhatsApp messages, you can continue the conversation by email. And as a matter of fact, part of positioning is when you quickly move conversation to email, it positions you as a serious person. Because I realized that unserious people cannot type email. And when you do emails, it helps you to really articulate a lot of things. And the neater your emails look, the more engaging it is for the client. Because sometimes you are even them providing information. Sometimes it's difficult to do that on WhatsApp because it might look like you're clogging the person's phone. It might look like you're just sending me, like a broadcast message that I might not be able to read. But when you move conversation and you start engaging at that level, it separates you from the crowd. And that's one essential part of follow-up too. Sometimes it's not just, calls, and calls. Endless WhatsApp messages. Some people, you can even get their attention faster by email than by phone call. So part of follow-up means that you must always get clients. You must have, lead capturing tools that helps you get people's email. I said something about when people run hard and you expect people to just come to your DM or start, calling you on the phone. But part of the tool you must put on your hand is something that helps you quickly generate their name, their phone number, and their email address. And maybe you want to add one more thing. What are you interested? Or maybe a specific question about that ad, just to be sure that they understood the ad and something caught their interest. So when you get that, it comes back to you like a sheet that has all that information, and you can begin to engage. Follow-up can start from there. So follow-up is where this close. Follow-up is very important. Technology will not close the deal. Technology just help you get more into your funnel. The follow-up and closing is still on you. So maybe right there, I should say that Proptech is not going to replace human effort. It's just going to enhance it. And that should be at the back of our mind. So let's ensure that we introduce a structured follow-up system into our organization and our sales process. Number 5 is you must build trust at scale. I mean, what we're doing here today, we're building trust at scale. We're building trust at scale. One of the creating platform of knowledge like this is also to build trust. Things like this, when it comes to PropTech, we're already doing it. Very important. Video updates, live site tours. You must provide transparent and real-time visual proof of progress. Everything is real-time, not story. And you must show proof. Create progress dashboards and testimonial. And we need to leverage structured data and social proof to validate your claim. And we must do this at scale, leveraging all the technology platform that can help us put this live. I saw something before we started the webinar. There was a display of some properties, some offers. We are building trust at scale. And that's just a clear example to just back up this particular point. Technology is not just for marketing. It's for trust building. Yes, I'll say that again. Technology is not just for marketing. It's for trust building. We must balance between the things we do, we leverage technology to do to build trust, and how we then try to sell. If what we try to do with technology is to sell, we're likely going to sell less. But when we use part of it to build trust, it helps us to sell. You see some property agents, let me use that word for the want of brokers. Some property brokers in the United States now doing reality shows. You see property brokers now doing podcasts, now doing IG Live, webinars. Why are we doing all these things? It's because sometimes you just need to build trust, just share knowledge, create platform of knowledge, and show testimonial, show a lot of things. Then sometimes sales will come by itself without even you asking for a sale. So people will come and just asking you because people will trust. People buy from the person they trust more than the person they don't. And let me conclude by saying this, that in this market, your biggest competition is not just another developer. It's a better sales process. Let me share a practical example. We have a property that internally, we've sort of struggled to sell it. Not that we don't, but we're not selling at scale, we're not selling at just the way we like it. Then recently, I met a broker who partnered with us and came into the deal. And I noticed that in less than 2 weeks, this person already has potential deals well over 200 million. And some of them are beginning to convert. And each time we were together, because all the inspections she had, I was always there. And I noticed how she goes about it, even though everything we promised in that estate, none of them is visible yet. I notice how she stays quiet, allows the client to what do they call it now? To allow the environment, settle on the client. The client looks around, and the clients that begin to raise their concern that, this place will take 5 years, 10 years. And he allows them speak. Doesn't even argue with them. And she just starts talking that the vision of this place is what got me interested. The vision is powerful. She starts talking about the vision. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. These are the things that change how people should live. And I kept looking. And I realized 2 things. The network, she has a network. But again, the storytelling. Sometimes you engage the obvious and start making the client feel like what they are seeing is not what they are seeing. But I noticed how this person just switched the conversation rather than arguing what the client can see now. Switch to vision and start casting vision. And I see that most clients leave that site sold and ready to proceed. And we begin to see the result of that. So like I said, there's another estate in that corridor that is already almost fully delivered. So sometimes those are not your competition. You need to look at your process. You need to look at your vision, how you are positioning your product, how you are engaging, the tools you're using, the marketing communication, the chat out. But again, do you even believe in your product yourself? And guess what? The first thing this broker did was to buy into the product. That was the first thing she did. She bought with her money into the product. So anytime she brings somebody there, she said, like I told you that I already bought into this place too. And why I bought into it is because of the vision. So we need to understand that a better sales process is the real thing, not just another developer. So thank you very much. I hope this helps. Like I said, I didn't want to boss with Proptech itself, what the tools you can use, how you can use a technical conversation. At the end of the day, this is the outcome that we should expect when you leverage property technology very well. And property tech is not replacing human being. It's just to enhance and give us better results. Thank you very much, sir.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Dotun Oloyede. That was very, I was just listening. I was just making some major notes. I hope you can hear me very well. I just want to be sure.
Yeah.
I hope I can be heard. Good. Yeah. Thank you so very much, Mr. Dotun. That was very, very, practical and very, very real. And shortly, I'll be going into my talking points. But before I go into my talking point, once again, I want to remind all our viewers, listeners, if you have questions, you can use the chat box. If you also want to ask a direct question, I can get the backroom staff to bring you so that you can ask your direct question. Thank you so very much. So, I needed to put that in so that we can begin to, I have quite some, please just make sure you drop your questions. Yes, I can see some are already doing that. So just drop your question. Again, if you want to ask question, please don't hesitate to raise up your hand, or probably I will call you to ask Mr. Dotun. He's the one that made the presentation. I'm not the one. So he's going to he can answer your question. All right. Now let's go to our talking point. I love when you started talking about the analogy you used about the mind, the child mind, got to me, very, very interesting one. Very, very interesting one. And again, like I said, I love the way you put into practical terms those things that will actually help in terms of still our perception about how it should go, how the market had actually moved, and what we expect to do. You don't just sit down and think that you can actually close a sale just because the product is yours. The market had actually moved way beyond that. Now, so let me start from the angle of the buyer's behavior. Now, we've taken time to talk about what we should do. Now, let's probably now look at the buyer's behavior. we'll look at what we should do internally. So I want to ask this question while we're trying to wait for the question and maybe some other talking point. Now, let's assume that all of those things that you said are in place from the angle of somebody on the inside, I mean, the seller. Now, the buyer, how do you handle a buyer who is interested, but now maybe keeps stalling, right? A buyer who keeps stalling. I mean, so I want to ask, is it a trust issue? Or could it be a financing issue now, or maybe something else? Now, every other thing are in place, but we're talking about the buyer now. So buyer behavior. From your own experience in the industry and from what you have seen in the market, how would you assess the buyer's behavior, especially when you think that all of these things that you discuss about are in place? Now, why do you think a buyer will stall? Could it be a trust issue? If it's a trust issue, how can we place this in this conversation that we've had? And is it a financing issue? If it's a financing issue, maybe not much can be done, but what do you think or something else? Let's hear from your own practical, your own being in the field over the years. What do you think now the buyer's behavior?
I like when you said my own practical experience. So I'm just going to share my experience. So if it's the same, but first thing is that you can't close every deal. That's just know that and know peace. Not every deal we close. And the reasons why they don't close might not be up to you, but not every deal you can close. Secondly, be interested in your customers beyond the transaction on the table. That's another practical experience of mine. It helps you a lot. See, the present deal might not close, but future deals will close. They can give you referrals. But if the forward of your conversation with a prospect is just on the deal, then when communication stops on that deal, there's nothing else to discuss. You have not connected at another level. You're not... And this is where exposure matters. So you are able to connect. You know, some of us, the only conversation you want to have with the client is the deal. So after that, what happens? And that's why some people have closed many deals in their life, but they still don't have strong customer network, because all they did with those clients was those transactions. And when transaction is done, no connection. So have a stronger connection with your client just beyond the deal. And those two things are my own personal experience that I will use to answer the question.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. If
Let me allow you, please.
Yes, if you have deeper connection with your client, it helps them open more to you. So sometimes clients are stalling for different reasons, and they might not tell you why they're stalling. It's depending on the relationship you have. You know, if your client can tell you that, guy, I saw something else, I'm going for it. If your client is going for something else and you look at it, can you tell your client, I think it's fine, go for it? Are you able to tell your client that, I think this is fine, go for it? But often than not, the competitive selling in us, you want to tell that product is bad, you will die if you buy it, you know, so you want to say a lot of things. But sometimes you just need to be a friend. You just need to be like a consultant they can always come back to and seek you out on things. So if you are, the closer you are to them on other things, the more they're able to open up to you, so they can understand why they're stalling. Then when you understand where they're stalling, it then brings the conversation to how do you handle objection, because that's now in the corridor of objection. Then you then have to undo it. So something I taught my team members, I called it feel, felt, found. Feel, felt, found. That is a model you can use to undo objection. When somebody tells you, oh, that place is too far, feel it with them that I understand how you feel. And a client that bought 10 plots yesterday felt the same way. So feel, felt, but when they went on inspection, they found out. Then the fun part, they found out that it was one of the best things that can happen in that corridor. It has this, it has that. So you have not told the client that the place is not far. You agreed with the client. But you then use the testimony of another person to make your point without looking like you're objecting or you are arguing with the client. So it's called feel, felt, found. Yes, I feel what you're saying. Yes, I understand how you feel. But the kind of mind that I bought yesterday, that I bought 10 plots, also felt that way. when they went for inspection, they found out that that product has this, has unique that, has unique. So you then go back to selling the features on why they should buy it. So that sometimes helps to undo objection. Then sometimes, maybe like you said, it might be a finance issue. Maybe there's a mismatch between what the product is going for and, then that comes with deal structure. Can you make compromise? How can you help the client, push the company, push the clients? And how can we structure the deal better? But at the end of the day, like I said, firstly, is that you can't close it. You can only make sure that. And if you don't have a customer from a deal, make sure you have a friend that I can always go back to in the future.
Interesting. That's a very good one. Honestly, I have a stronger connection with your customer and all that. That's very good. Now, talking about I know that I can see that there are questions that we need to take, but before we go to that question, I will now come back to, because you did mention from this question that you just answered is going to lead me to ask, something else, which is now going to be about the lead generation, coming from the buyer's behavior to the lead generation, because you did mention earlier on that, okay, even if they don't buy, could lead to referrals and all of you made mention of referrals. While you're actually responding to that question. So if I want to ask now with regards to lead generation, now this is also based on your experience, because you're in the market, you're in the field, you see these things, this thing comes across your table every now and then. Where are the best quality leads coming from right now in Nigeria market? Now, are they online? Are they referrals? Or Mr. Dotton, you want to tell us they are from elsewhere so that we can also, that response, that initial response is
they're in
leading
my
me to
house.
this.
They're in my house.
It's
And
leading me to this, that, okay, that it was actually based on that response, about the buyer's behavior. So now I'm just putting you on the spot, maybe not necessarily on the spot now. MD, let me put you on the spot on this. So where are the quality leads? I use the word quality leads are coming from right now, because you did mention in your presentation, talk about communication, online thing, how our response should be, response to, most times it's about the slow response to inquiries that also cause so many things. But from where you sit right now, the quality leads, where are they coming from the Nigerian market? Are they coming from the online? Are they coming from referrals or elsewhere? If they are from elsewhere, Mr. Dotton, I'll be glad that you share that with us.
Okay, so some of those places you mentioned are platforms of reaching leads, but that's not really where the leads are coming from. Those are just platform of connection. Where you have the stronger market now, people with a strong buying power. Now it's the diaspora. It's been like that for a couple of years now. The diaspora has a stronger buying power than some of the people in Nigeria. It doesn't mean so it's a simple analogy. Just look at your sales record for a period of time and do a clear demography of how many location based, where this person from. You realize that this is something we've done year in, year on, and we realize that every year we have more customers from the diaspora market than from the local market. So a lot of people in diaspora have stronger buying power, because what I've realized is that when people travel out and they conquer the system. What I mean by conquering the system is that they do the basic thing everybody wants to do when they travel out. They want to get a good job, stabilize, buy a property there. After a while, they start thinking about home. So their interest is stimulated from a sentimental perspective. It's not even based on economics. It's more sentimental than economic, because they're Nigerians. They believe in home. They want to have something at home. Just like someone that has not traveled before. At some point, you want to build a house in your village. So the sentiment is the same. At some point, your parents tell you, you need to build your own house. Then they see that you start having money. After you build your own house, after a while, your same parent will tell you that, try to do something in your hometown. So that sentiment is the same that goes with the aspirants when they travel out. After they've stabilized them, they think about home. So, and they have stronger buying power because they have stronger currency, they earn better, and they have better credit system they can leverage to raise money to buy some of these things. And from the record of sales, we see that the people in diaspora buy more than people in Nigeria. So we'll now go back to how do you then reach them, which is all those platforms you mentioned. The first thing, before you start talking about the platform to reach people, is your positioning. Your website if I Google search your product. So if I go on Google now and I put the name of your product, you must determine what you want to lead with when people search you. Is it a product or your company? I always advise product. Before I would advise company, but now I advise product. Let the product take the lead. So if people Google search the product, now, what would they see? Even on Google Maps, when it said, do you have Google Maps? Do you have PIN? Do you have PIN location? Can somebody have a virtual experience and feel like they are already informed? All those things are important before you start drumming and rolling money into Instagram and the likes and everything. Because by the time you get their attention, the interesting is that you might get the traffic, but you might not get conversion. Because it is what they see that will determine whether they will engage. When you go on one-on-one marketing, the person is in front of you, can talk back to. The sad part of the online and the digital and Proptech thing is that they won't talk back to you if the first thing they say does not give them some level of conviction. They won't even engage you. So a lot of people look at your offer and pass without even asking you questions, without even giving you room to explain. So you must think of everything ahead. And that's where positioning matters. That's the first thing. So in terms of which platform, I feel all the platform works. I can't say one platform works more than the other platform. Every platform works. You must engage all platforms. But again, after you have engaged, look at where you have the best of results that you can consolidate and put them. Because you can say it's Instagram, but somebody else will tell you that it's YouTube that gives them results. Some people say it's Google Ad that gives them results. Some people say it's LinkedIn. Everything I do is on LinkedIn. Some people say it's Facebook. So you must try and see which one works and gives you better results. So you can take your resources and complement on that platform and just maximize the results. I hope that answer helps.
Oh, it does. It does. Absolutely, it does, honestly. Okay, so let's go to, I have some other questions, but I think there are a lot of questions that we need to quickly answer. Once again, if you want to ask Mr. Dotun question directly, please, you can do that by showing of your hand so I can get someone to from the back end to promote you. That's if you want to ask him direct question. But I can even see from where we stand that we even have quite enough questions already. So we'll take those questions. One of the anonymous attendees is asking, thank you for the presentation. He said, please, if a property hasn't sold in 2 years, who is responsible? The developer, the marketer, or the market itself? Mr. Dotun, find us who is responsible.
But I think you should be answering this question. But I think everybody can be responsible and nobody can be responsible. So it's not a yes or no. It's not a yes or no. You need to look at, if you give more context, we can give you a better answer that can help you. So any answer we give now will just be broad. A lot of things happen that make a property sell fast or not sell fast. The title, the location, the state of the property, the price, how you're going about it, and the likes and everything. So, but I've just noticed that sometimes your condition, why you want to sell, also determines how fast the property will sell. So a whole lot of things is responsible. Everything you mentioned can be the reason, and sometimes none of it can be the reason. But if you give better context, we can give you a better answer.
All right, so let's go to another question. Michael Etan is saying, what marketing channel is producing the fastest result? You actually mentioned this, but maybe you can actually speak a little bit about it. You just spoke about this question earlier on, but let's take it so that you can. He said, what marketing channel is producing the fastest result? Instagram, WhatsApp, referral, site inspection, or corporate partnership? I think you said something about that earlier, but please can
everything. You have to engage everything, and you must separate digital engagement and physical engagement. It's not either or. It's that or. Like I tell my team members, you must find a way to convert your digital engagement to physical engagement. Don't just stop at talking to somebody online. You must always find a way to convert that to a physical engagement. And that's why property viewing is very important. When they come for viewing, you are able to engage them. You're able to, and again, it speaks to fastest responder. By the time someone you engage digitally, reached out to you out of the blue. Can I see this property today? Can I see, what's your process like? Is it that they have to wait for 8 hours before they can see the property? Digital people, they want it law. The other 10 people. Sometimes you are taking somebody on inspection. From your inspection, another person is waiting to take them to Another inspection. So you must be on your feet. You must be on your feet. Somebody can call you and say, I want to go. No. You must make yourself available. If you profile the person with your engagement, what you realize the person is interested, have the money. But I also realize that there's a level of interest when someone determines to see a property. You know, there's a level of interest. There might be window shopping. They might be doing market analysis, but there's a level of interest, and you should always take it serious. Even if they don't end up buying at that moment, they are someone you can put in your network. So yeah, you must engage all platforms and make sure that you maximize every platform.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the other question. There's another question here. I think I have a 4 or 5 more. Okay, so then, of course, this person is a follow-up question. What are the top 5 locations where buyers are currently migrating to, and why? Again, from where you stand, from where you stand, the things you've done in most recent times, what will say? Again, I think questions like this actually helps us to be able to track what the taste of people and all that. But let's answer directly. What are the top 5 locations where buyers are currently migrating to, and why? Why?
We need to share the Ugoziele real estate outlook for 2026 with this person. I'm very sure the answer will be there because they are actually research work that shows trend of how people are moving. But I can tell you that people want to move towards the island side more than the mainland. When people want to move to the mainland, it's always for specific. They have specific reason. But in terms of trend, it faces that location where you have anything from Aja downwards, the growing ecosystem. And the reason why a lot of people are moving to those growing ecosystems is because they are, number one, they are growing ecosystems. Then there's a lot of development. There's a lot of payment schemes that allows this thing to happen. It's very rare on the mainland, even though there are few, but it's very rare. You see a house on the mainland that want to sell, they want their money now. They want their money now. There are a few ones that have structured payment, things like that, but most times it's always cash and carry. But you have plenty options on that side. It fits their budget. In terms of development, it looks like, okay, that's where a lot of development is going. So it would be in that corridor. Anything from Aja downwards, you have and now a lot of more interest has been going there because Lekki one has priced itself away from some people. You know, anything around from there, some people can't afford it anymore. So people have to move further down. And again, government involvement in terms of providing access and infrastructure, it's also very strong in that corridor where you have the coastal road, you have the new airport coming up. All those things is getting more interest in that place. But again, if you want specific, you might pick up some of these research reports, and I'm very sure you'll find specific answer. But I can tell you to be far from everything I've just said.
All right. Mr. Dotun, let's take this question from Adetunji Aminat. He said, considering the long decision-making cycle in the real estate, what specific strategy have you seen work in shortening the sales cycle without compromising the client's trust, especially in emerging markets like Nigeria? Did you get that, sir?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the first answer to that is what you do before you even put out the product out. The bulk of the work needs to be done. So if you want the sales cycle to be shorter, you need to look at what are the things that make it longer and how can you address it before you even put the product out. No, how can you make sure you put enough information? How can you make sure you put things in places that client can find it easily? And that before they even call you and engage you, they are already 70% informed on what you're offering. So by the time you are talking, they'll be the one telling you, but I saw that this place, they wrote this, they wrote that. So they are ready. So if you can imagine the journey and you can script it on a paper and you make sure that you remove one impediment, that reduces the cycle. But you're dealing with, when people buy property, sometimes they are buying life, they are buying dreams. It's a big decision. It's not buying water in a grocery store. It's a big decision, so, and there are specific reasons why they're doing it. Some people, that's all their life savings, and some people, that's why they grow their wealth. So these are not things that they joke with. So it might take time sometimes. But like I always tell people, real estate is a game of numbers. The more numbers you have, the more deals you close. If all you have is one or two clients, or one or two prospects, then when one is taking time, you get a suffer. So you must make sure you have numbers. So you are very busy, you're working with it, you're working. So when this is not closing yet, one is close to closing, right? But again, what you do before you put everything out, how you also put information, how you make sure that every aspect of the engagement you already anticipated and addressed it upfront can help to shorten the sales cycle.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dodson. Let's look at, I think we have one anonymous question. We'll take another, I think about 3 questions, so we could, as we begin to wrap up. Now, so this anonymous attendee is asking, everyone wants to close faster, and if you remember, that's what I told you when we started, we talked about that. I mean, this is coming in-house. We've talked a lot about the economy, a lot about FX and all that, but we are talking about real estate firm and the need for us to sell faster. So he is asking, everyone wants to close faster, but real estate is built on trust. How do you speed up sales without losing buyers' confidence? Mr. Dodson, did you get that?
Yeah, I think we've answered. Yeah, I
Yes.
did. I got it. I think we've answered. But just to also add to it again is you must, like I said, what you put before you put it out, how do you make sure that you have enough information out there? But again, you must always make sure that every of your engagement, there are clear takeout from the client. This is another practical thing I tell salespeople. Don't have conversation with the client, and when you finish, you don't know what you've talked about. There must be clear takeout. There's something they call BAM farm. Book a meeting from a meeting. Call it BAM farm. Book a meeting from a meeting. When I'm having a conversation with you, I must know what the takeout is, and I must know the next time we are having a conversation. It must be that, oh, let's have a call on so. When the client said, oh, I want to speak with my something, you must be able to tell the client, okay, oh, thank you, well, that's nice. Oh, so when should I circle back to you? It's Thursday or Wednesday, okay? Now you are dictating the pace without not being pushy. But if the client says, I will get back to you, and you say, okay, and you end the conversation, the question is, when will he get back to you? By the time you say, okay, oh, thank you, I know that's very important, you need to take your time to think about it. Oh, when can I reach back to you? Is Wednesday or Thursday okay? Because you gave 2 options, the person cannot say no to one. They have to choose one. So they'll tell, oh, okay, reach me back on Thursday. Oh, okay, with 9 or 10 a.m. be fine, or 11 or 12. You must make sure you are giving options of time. Don't give option of person can say, okay, when I'm ready, I'll get back. No, have a clear takeout from every engagement. And that is how you help what you're doing, and it shortens your time. So you're not even wasting your time. So you're not wasting your time, and you know what the next thing is anytime you engage the client. And this will help you, can help you shorten the process, the sales cycle, and also make you not too pushy so that you don't look like, oh, you are too desperate. Make sure that every engagement, there are clear takeouts, and you know the next time you are engaging the person. That helps you. And I've also experienced it. You know, maybe I think sometimes in Nigeria, I don't even think we know how to sell compared to people abroad, the British, the American. If they hound you on the phone, hey, my God. There are clear boxes they want to tick. For everything you say, there's a script they are reading and they okay, so when can I? They want to make sure. And at the end of that meeting, there'll be a clear, okay, maybe we are talking again 7 a.m. tomorrow. It's very clear. And at 7 a.m., they'll call you. They'll call you. So make sure you have clear takeout from every engagement we have the client, and make sure the takeout is heading towards the direction you want to go. Once there's an objection, address it, then bring the conversation back in the part of closing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Doctor. I think from the back end, Ayomide, I can see that there's somebody who raised his or her hand, is a Motorola Moto E14. If you can promote the person to the panelists, I will ask the person to ask his or her question directly. But before then, let's look at the other questions as we're wrapping up. I think just 2 more questions. Okay, this is saying, okay, what is the urgency factor we can introduce? Price, increased date, limited unit, or construction milestone. I'm not sure I get what this person is, but it says, are we targeting the user or investors, and which one has the highest speed of decision? What is I'm not sure I get this question very well, except Mr. Doctor, if you can pick what he's asking there.
Well, I think the question already answered itself.
Yes.
No, You just have to create fear of missing out. In every offering you put out, there must always be a fear of missing out. They call it FOMO, fear of missing out. You must always have it there. So because it makes the prospect know that this thing is time bound, or it is quantity based, or it is slot based. There must be something that makes the client know that if you don't act fast, you might miss out from it, and that helps them to make a decision faster. And just to use that to answer the earlier question too, you must always create a fear of missing out from the beginning of the offer itself. By the time I tell you that I only have 5 units, by the time we start a conversation, so, and I'm telling you 3 is gone. So all those things help the process to be faster. Also, when you want to get a decision faster, you must create, oh, this thing is closing by, the price will increase on so date. So that's already a clock that makes sure that everybody must decide before that timeline. So that always create a fear of missing out, and everything you've listed can be used to do that. When someone is already your client, you can use progress to sway them to do more, to buy more. You know, when they see the speed of your progress, that can also be something that turn them on and make them want to do more.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. So let's see. I can see now that we have Motorola Moto. You are there. Can you unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask your question or your comment directly to Mr. Johnson?
Good afternoon, MD. All protocol observed. The MD mentioned that if somebody call him and not get him, he can use his email. Assuming that client did not have his email address. That is one question. The another question is that before we are told that if you buy a land with real estate, that you have 100% confidence that the land is with you. But now, many of these real estates, they are not genuine. They are not good people. Can we go back to the Omonile land, or we should continue with them? That's the second question. And the third question is that anytime you call the MD, you should try as much as possible to pick his call. Not all the customers, not all the clients has email address. Another question is that, please, this real estate, I think they should have a body that will guide them. As I'm talking to you now, there's one real estate at Lekki. I have 1 acre there with Ayo George, Matron's Crest. I was told yesterday that he has left the office. The landlord pushed him out. Even they went to the court. We don't know where to find him now. What can we do for us as a customer? This real estate, they have something to do. They must have a body to guide them. 95% them are not genuine. They are fake people, and they are duping many customers. It's not good like that. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you so very much. Mr. Dotson, did you get that question? Okay, maybe if I can quickly bump, she talked about the genuinity of, body and all that. Of course, I can speak to the fact that there's a body that regulates what we do. Mr. Dotson can actually, there's a body that regulates, and that's why we're having this kind of engagement, awareness. You see, the reason why we have programs like this is just to ensure that people get to know. So, we may not begin to tell you names of people who are not genuine because we're not supposed to be doing. What we'll be telling you is what you should look out for. Right. And that's what this platform is. So you can be able to make those decisions. But I'll allow Mr. Dotun to actually get into it. There's other question she asked where she talked about email address and all of those stuff, reaching out. So, you heard all the questions too, but I thought I should just quickly mention that there's a regulatory body. The truth is, wherever you have genuine, you always have fake people, no doubt. It's everywhere.
Definitely.
So the question is, who are you speaking to? And that's the reason why we have webinars like this where we try to educate people. But Mr. Dotson, let me allow you to jump into that.
So I think there are, when it comes to real estate developers, there's REDAN. REDAN is the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria. There's a national body, there's a state body. If a member if a developer is a member of REDAN, so that makes it easy. REDAN can always trace and find the person, because either if they cannot find the person, they can find people that know the person. So because it's a large It's a large body, so it's pretty easy to track the person that way. But if the person is not a member of RED, and then it becomes a legal matter that needs to be addressed and taken up that way, really. Just like with any venture, things like this, it's not limited to real estate. Things happen, especially when it comes to dealing with money and exchange of money, and all. Things happen that we need to look at. Customers need to do their own due diligence before engaging. And which brings me to the first question about, do you buy land from real estate owners or do you buy land from Omunile? I think that the biggest problem is most real estate companies oftentimes think they can take the position that they are God and they can guarantee everything and they can guarantee it forever. As at the time when the land was sold, the developer is sure can guarantee you that the land is safe and everything. But the longer it takes that the land is not developed, the more prone the land is to a lot of things. And when those things happen, that's where you begin to see, oh, where is my land? Where is this? Where is that? And it becomes a matter that, oh, maybe it's not even, sometimes maybe it's government that takes over the land, or maybe sometimes it's Omolile themselves that. And that's why I always advise now, anybody asks me now, and even with an organization, we don't do prospective real estate anymore. We do estate that you have to develop now. You have to develop now because there's just a limit to how much one person can guarantee the security of a property for so long. And I tell clients that you also have to take personal responsibility for your assets. I see a lot of clients who take allocation and go away for 5, 6 years, 7 years. Sometimes you don't even know where they are. They just sometimes come out of the blue and say, where is my land? I think that's even reckless sometimes on the part of the client. Clients need to take control of take responsibility for their assets, do your authority perversion, take physical possession, do something on your land, especially if it falls within a prospective ecosystem where there's still a lot of undeveloped land. Those kind of land are prone to a lot of encumbrance. And I also said, I think it's high time developers start charging people that bought land from them service charge, so that there's a cost to securing your investment for as long as you want it. I think it's a conversation that's my personal opinion, and that's some of our own conclusion as an organization, that what things going forward to ensure that both security on the short term and the long term is guaranteed. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dotson. We need to begin to close up. I can also still see a few questions, but I would think we'll just sit through and take like 2 more. I can see a few, but I want to take this one. Tolu Lokpe Desmond is saying, okay, I will take 2 of those questions. Thank you for this insightful presentation. He says, sir, I'd like to ask, what does the future of real estate in Nigeria and across Africa look like? And what would a truly future-forward real estate model for the continent entail? Did you get that, sir?
Yeah, it needs to be a well-financed. It has to be a well-financed sector. As it is at the moment, it's not well-financed, even though mortgage penetration is increasing, because mortgage penetration will change the dynamics of everything. Because at the end of the day, finance is everything. Developers need finance to develop. The end users need finance to buy. So, and not having that in its strongest way is the biggest holdback for the sector. This biggest holdback for the sector. And the moment that is fixed, the better for the sector. Yes, we are entering a period where real estate will become more expensive. It's become more expensive. It's going to become more expensive because what we're asking for is not cheap. What we're asking for is not cheap. And by the time all those structures are put in place, it comes at a cost. But again, if the mortgage is there, it won't matter because people are able to access mortgage. But again, somebody talked about, okay, if mortgage comes, affordability is also another thing. Can the people even afford the mortgage? Again, there's a lot of ifs and buts here and there. But I think our growth has been slow. But with better financing for the sector, it can be better.
Thank you, Mr. Dotson. One more question from this angle, then I try to wrap up my end. This person, anonymous attendee, saying, good afternoon, sir. He said, I'm so elated to have joined this meeting. Please, can you kindly explain the term BAM farm that you
BAM
explained.
farm.
I think while you're
BAM
having that
farm.
conversation, you mentioned something like, so can
BAM
you
farm is
quickly
a short acronym for book a meeting from a meeting.
book
What it
a
means is
meeting from a
from
meeting?
a
Yeah.
meeting. What it means is that from every engagement, make sure there are clear takeout for, and the date for the next engagement is clear. Don't just sit with somebody, have an open-ended conversation. You don't have a clear takeout. You don't have a time to circle back. So make sure in that meeting, book a meeting from a meeting. When else are we talking? Monday or Tuesday? 9 or 10, 11 or 4. So that way you make sure when you come out from that meeting, you have another date for another meeting. Not that you come out from that meeting. It's easier to get the next engagement time in that meeting than to come out and now start calling. Where can we meet? Where can we have a meeting? Make sure, and it's not just about sales alone. This is also a model that works for every department, any progressive engagement. Always make sure that we make sure that we have a commitment from every engagement.
Okay, so I think, well, I mean, I can see a lot of people are, I mean, thanking you for this presentation. God, thank you so very much. And I see a few persons also ask if we're going to send them the recordings are going to be, you just send us your email on the background and we're going to respond. We're going to send the recording to you. Let me ask you, before I let you go, before I take my closing remarks, one thing you wish every property salesperson in Nigeria knew, one thing. Every sales property, and we have quite a lot of them on this call. One thing you wish, from your standpoint, one thing you wish every property salesperson in Nigeria knew.
So a salesperson or a developer? A salesperson.
A sales?
Is it a salesperson or a developer?
A salesperson. I mean, a salesperson.
Yeah, everything starts and ends. You are the most critical factor in everything. So the more knowledgeable you are, the more informed you are, determines a lot. Yes, the product is there, the tools are there, but if the you does not match everything, you still will not get the result that product or the platform can give you. So the you matters in the equation. And the more you develop yourself, the more you expose yourself, the more you, and a salesperson must continually gravitate towards being an authority, not just a salesperson. That an authority sells better than just a salesperson.
An authority sells better just than a salesperson. So thank you very much. And again, you, in your discussion, when I was asking you one question, you push it back to us about our real estate report. You know, I also want to say on this platform that yes, the real estate report is in the workings, and in a couple of weeks it will be out. And I'm sure you have access to, I mean, the trends from where we stand. So it's something we've been doing for the past 10 years. I thought I should also bring that in because Mr. Dotun did mention it. We're seeing all your email addresses that you are sending, and somebody at the back end is also going to harvest them and send you the recording. So the real estate report in a couple of weeks is going to be out, so you can use it. It helps you to understand what the market dynamics of the market, the trend of the market, and so it helps you in making such a decision. As I close, let me thank you so much, Mr. Dotun, for this. It's been a genuinely insightful meeting and webinar, and I know that our attendees and everyone will be walking away with things that they can actually act on immediately. It was very practical. Your presentation was very practical, very direct, and very straight to the point. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for your time and thank you for your excellent questions. This is exactly the kind of conversations that our industry needs right now, and it's good that we have this platform to ensure that we bring this. So the recording from today's sessions will be shared. So we look forward to that, and I'm sure that if you also want to connect with Mr. Dotun Oluyede, he's there. I've read his profile. He's the managing director of Rollard Properties and Allied Services, so we can reach out to him and get to know a few more. And you can also reach out to us, and we can also link you where the necessary be. So it's still Uboseli and Company, and we do this every now and then, every month we'll come with a topical issue that helps us. And it's good that we're doing this in-house to ensure that, like I said earlier on, when we started, we've been talking about the economy, we talked about the FS fluctuations, we talked about the market dynamics, but today we decided to look at, from the in-house, a salesperson, what are the things that we need to. And I'm going to close with this line of Mr. Dotun. Actually, I'm going to close with this line. Mr. Dotun says, and I quote, and I leave you with this quote: "You don't lose because your product is bad. You lose because your competitor are sharper, faster, and more strategic. So the question to every salesperson here, how sharp are you? How fast are you? And how strategic are you in responding to your client's inquiry, especially when it comes to the sales of property? So I leave you with that word one more time. You don't lose because your product is bad. You lose because your competitor is more sharper, more faster, and more strategic than you do. I hope you take this as you go, and looking forward to see you some other time. Thank you for joining this meeting. It's been a wonderful time. I did enjoy myself, and I'm sure that everyone on this call also enjoyed themselves. Looking forward to see you. Once again, Mr. Dotun, thank you so very much. You can be sure we'll come back again. We'll come back calling. It's been a wonderful time, and we look forward to see you at some other time. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be there.
All right, then. Cheers. Bye. So this webinar is brought to a close.